Second out, round one.
So time for our main undercard attraction, featuring the very exciting Codie Smith, his third professional fight, guided by Stevie Smith, who is a fine fighter himself. And Stevie says he has always dreamt of taking a fighter from the amateurs all the way to the world title. And he says Codie is that fighter, Barry.
He's looked phenomenal, I have to be honest. In his already short career, there's only 2 fights, but the composure he's shown, shot selection, everything about him, screams a quality fighter. This big a test ahead, and tonight's a decent test for him.
Not just one, but 2 quality fighters alongside me. George Groves here as well. Looking forward to seeing Codie Smith in action here against Eliecer Quezada.
Yeah, no, I am, and he started really sharp and really confident. There's a look about him already that he looks more experienced than his handful of bouts that he's already had, the 2 fights. So here, it's a lovely sharp start. Great right hands landed there already.
A little nod of appreciation there from Quezada, and Smith mixing it up, left hook to the body.
That was impressive there, son Smith. Just the movement of the feet, just the change of the angle of the feet. There's a little step back, a little slight step to the right. You go back again with the right hand.
Eliecer Quezada, by the way, has twice been in with Christopher Rosales, WBC flyweight champion. Of course, those days are gone. He's fighting at that kind of level, but very useful opponent certainly, and he comes forward and tries to engage Smith.
And a good little body shot as well there.
Yeah, Smith caught between switching orthodox and southpaw, which we see very talented amateurs do that, and they like to try it out at the early stage of their pro career, but you can get caught slightly out of position at times. You've got them pros in front of you who know how to especially work the body.
And you do it from a safe place, don't you? You've got to take a little step back with the switch, unless you're advancing forward with a big right hand or something, and then you bring that right foot forward. Otherwise, it's a dangerous game to play with an opponent who's willing to throw.
Third fight of the year as they accelerate Codie Smith forward. Luca Genovese in March at the York Hall, and then Francisco Rodriguez in Newcastle on that Josh Kelly undercard in July. And they get a nice taste of the big time as well.
Smith now trying to press, twitching and fading with that lead shoulder. Just outside of punching range, but again, newbie pro, you've got to be worried about the shots that are coming back at you.
Well, I'm quite impressed with his patience, because he knows Quezada trying to set him up with a counter attack, so maybe he can throw a few feints, but he's not overreaching with the shots, not panicking that he's not letting his hands go.
Certainly get a sense of what the buzz is about with Codie Smith. Really good opening round from him.
10 seconds, corners. Second out, round 2.
Codie Smith impressive in the opening round, the wise words of Stevie Smith in his corner, and as you tend to do when you prepare for these fights, you end up in a sort of box wreck rabbit hole mixed with a bit of YouTube, looking back at Stevie's career. Twice lost British title challenges, boxed Emmanuel Augustus, who was in the 2001 Ring Magazine Fight of the Year against Mickey Ward all those years ago. A legendary scrap that was. It's the joy of boxing, isn't it, in its history? These lines all bring us here to tonight. To watch Codie in action now.
He just got caught there with a looping right hand. The left hand slightly low, which I was guilty of throughout my career. I've never once said against it, but if the left hand's low, you've got to be conscious that that side of your face is not covered.
But interestingly, it came off after a nice bit of success for him. I just think sometimes that's another learning experience. Sometimes you get a good success, you always forget that the opponent can punch back.
Back on his jab now, he's back trying to re-establish that distance. They look to counter from there.
Dreams of a title fight one day at Oakwell, the home of his beloved Barnsley, from Hemsworth in Yorkshire. Trains out of Hull in that Smith gym, but very much a Hemsworth lad. Very well supported here tonight.
Again, they're showing the fast feet there, Smith. Just maybe a little too much of a bigger step to get any purchase on that right uppercut, but the thought process is there. sharp reactions, and that's good to see.
National Youth Championship in 2021, competed for England and for GB, 56 wins as an amateur. Plenty of international recognition as well. He's got all of the skills, and big smile on the face of Quezada as Smith does his, I was going to say it's Billy Joe Saunders impression, but everyone does it now.
Yeah, did Billy Joe come up with that? Maybe he did, I can't remember. He definitely made it famous for a little bit.
I was there in Montreal when I did it. It was absolutely fantastic, but yeah, you got lots of answer for it, hasn't he? But it's been a plethora of boxes since you've clash your heads there.
Yeah, clash your heads, and Quezada has a look at the referee, but you've got to keep boxing.
Quezada really not happy with that. I can't see any blood yet, so they might come out unscathed. Still, it's nasty, it always hurts.
Smith has done what you should do. He's taking the offensive here. He's trying to close the gap with the feet.
Sometimes when you have all blocked feet south, where the heads do come together, feet get tangled up.
Moving his feet well there, Smith, at the end of round 2.
The old pro trick that you showed him.
10 seconds, corners.
Stay tuned to Barry Jones and George Groves long enough to
Seconds
learn
out.
all the tricks.
Round 3.
Still learning from Barry.
I had one trick, run.
Smith unloading at the start of round 3, trying to get down to business early here. He can talk as well, Codie Smith. He was calling everyone out at the pre-fight press conference, even jokingly called out Lyndon Arthur at one point. But nothing wrong with that, selling himself, making a name for himself. You've got to do it in the modern world.
Here, they're confident to sit in the pocket there, make to say they miss and come back with some good work.
Yeah, this is a great fight, great learning fight. See it now, switching, he's going from left to right. Might have a slight problem with his shoulder, he was motioning earlier, but he's always tries to keep himself in a position to punch back in a catch and fire sort of stance, shape up. And he's looking here now, aggressive on the front foot.
It's important there for Smith to, when he throws the shots, he always just move the feet a little bit. Just dip down a little bit low, just like a little pivot along the side, and now just people say they're looking for the target there.
He does really well at slight adjustments to the feet. Sometimes he'll lean his head into range, over that front knee, but consciously that's what he's doing, and then pull away or slip either side, knowing that the bent arm shots from the guy in front of him is coming.
Quezada's been a pro since 2009. This fight number 42 for him. Up against someone who's only had a couple of pro fights this year. It's always going to be an excellent learning fight for Smith. Dealing with it pretty well so far.
Yeah, he is, because he's not panicking. He gets clipped with the shot every now and again. When Quezada throws on so far out and sort of lunges in with the shots. And they've got their looping shots. They're a little bit hard to defend at times. But again, the composure, as we've seen it in the first 2 contests of Smith's career, the composure's been fantastic. And he could up the pace here now. There's more, he could do more work, but with that, there's an opportunity and a chance that he might get a little bit scrappier out of shape.
He's got boxing with a grimace on his face at the moment, but I think that's just the way he goes about things.
Might just being his version of fighting down on the gum shield, but there was a lovely uppercut there from Smith just before the grimace.
They're taking their time with him, and he's taking his time in the ring as well, Codie Smith. Good shot selection from him here, and that was a big right hook from Smith to end the round. But currently in Catalonia,
10 seconds,
Girona
corners.
in Spain. Already got a couple of scheduled
Seconds
fights
out.
to come later
Round
on this
4.
month. As Eliecer Quezada but he'll be impressed with his opponent here, Codie Smith. Great thing as well about, I know we're a long way from it, but his dream of that fight at Oakwell at Barnsley, it feels achievable, that. You can almost imagine 25 fights time, the special night.
Yeah, like you said, there's plenty of hurdles on the way for that, but yeah, it would be like every boxer's dream. If you're a boxer and you do follow a football club, then that's your dream, you're boxing that stadium. It always is. Unless you're a mega star like George Groves, so you bypass that and just go to the national stadium.
Don't always work out. This is another good round from Smith. He's back. Oh, just shipped with that loopy right hand. He took it really well. He's getting caught a little bit too frequent, I think, at this moment. I'm sure Stephen Smith in his corner, who was telling him, conscious that left side.
See, I don't mind him getting caught. I don't mind fighters getting caught at times, because again, he's even trying to be, he thinks he got the guy where he wants him, but again, it's just a reminder and a lesson that you always have to stay switched on. Because you can start having success and be the bully in the ring and then think that you've got the guy where you want him, and that's not always the case. Sometimes the fighter will fight back when you least expect it. So keeping that concentration is paramount in the sport.
Right hook to the body there from Smith, landed. Also a sign of how much they rate Smith. They've moved him quickly enough to fight someone with this experience and quality in fight number 3. Remember, he made his debut this year.
It's ambitious for sure, it really is. But I've seen enough to say I would have took this fight for him. I think the fact that the main ingredient, I keep saying the same thing, is he keeps his composure. His temperament is really good.
Just threaded 2 really nice right hands there in the corner, right in front of us. The first one was a right uppercut, and then the right sort of straight come hook follows up instantly. You see a little bit more of that now, Smith. Like when he backs this guy up to set up them shots, to piece them through. He will do it behind that jab. He needs to keep the guy in front of him honest, keep him steady, touching him. Then land that right hand. That's another good right hand from him.
And there's another from Smith, and he's got Quezada backed into that corner.
He took the step back, but he just went too far back. He just needed just a little move around the tag, a little bit, move around the body, rather than go back a straight line. But it was really good work. Guys not trying to win.
10 seconds, corners.
And bad habits are harder to lose than good habits are to keep. I can tell you that much. So I think fights like this keep you really
Seconds
honest.
out, round 5.
But different way, different stage of career and stuff, but stepping fighters up can go wrong, as we saw in Edinburgh. So there is a risk that comes with the matchmaking. But Codie Smith has been fully in control. Right hand there from Smith.
You see they're almost going into, it's much more negative this round, maybe not quite survival mode yet, but I think he knows he's up against it. He's getting caught more frequently with the Smith right hand. He's trying to circle the ring, but he's just not quite sharp enough to get away from the shots in front of him.
Just like to see Smith get a little bit lower and a few more fidgety movements about him. So he's more of a threat in opposition. You can say they might throw from too far out, or the panic, and then you've got him.
Retreating back into that same corner. They're telling Smith to step on the gas here. I think they feel the finish might be on. Really good shot again. Quezada hurt again, maybe a Smith. Piles on the pressure now. Referee's taking a long look at this. I think one more clean shot, but no.
Good from Quezada was really good there, because he knew he didn't fire back, he was getting stopped.
Cries of Yorkshire from the travelling Hemsworth crowd here.
Big feinting these now here, Smith. Feint and throw that right hand. Big stamp with the front foot.
The great thing about this Codie Smith crowd as well, you can just sense it's going to get bigger and bigger fight by fight. Especially if he performs like this.
Right hand landed there. Doing that amateur trick that you're taught in the first week is you fight in a southpaw, you take your foot outside of his front foot and loop the right hand round. He's had great success with that tonight. I just want to see that second wave, but what comes after that? Does he have to come with another angle and land the right hand to follow?
I would say this, if you take a step on the outside, you throw that right hand, throw it again. It's very rare you get it to land it twice, so let it go again.
Stop boxing, stop boxing.
Head to Quezada, looking for help, wasn't he?
Turn around, turn around, turn around. Oi, turn around, look at your head. Okay.
He still looks a bit sorry for himself here, Quezada, and Smith is sensing that. It's a cut on that left eye of Quezada.
Seconds out for the 6th and final round.
Yeah, Quezada's still shaking his head here ahead of this 6th and final round. And I think the finish is there here for Codie Smith if he wants it. Quezada, of course, is a fighting man and he's come out to fight here.
I was going to say about Smith, it's the balance about being the bully now and being assertive, but without losing his shape, without making silly mistakes and allowing the guy back into the fight. You want to suck his confidence away without making mistakes.
Well, he landed some great body shots there. He punches loose and long. Used his shoulders, same again here.
Some big swelling now. Left eye from the clash of heads.
It's cuts from here, it's blood.
Yeah, the cut as well, isn't there? But you can see a swelling too. Right hand landed on the button there from Codie Smith.
Still from Smith, he takes that slide across to the left. He's that right hand, almost like a free shot.
Referee's having a good look now, yeah.
Yeah, he's done the right thing here. Calling the doctor over to take a look at this cut. You don't want to take any risks here at all. He's okay to carry on. Still a couple of minutes remain though. Smith looking again for that headshot. You know as well that the cut is in the mind of the referee, so any sort of significant flurry will probably lead to a stoppage here.
Screw shot there from Smith. Gonna dip the legs now. Dip low, throw high.
Still just over a minute to go as Quezada fights back again.
Lovely uppercut there from Smith in close.
With a minute to go, at this stage of this fight, when he could get stopped at any moment because of his cut, this is perfect learning experience for Codie Smith for his future career. How do you stop a guy when it doesn't mean any difference in terms of your wider career, but get in the habit of finishing guys off when you think they can be finished.
It's going to have to be late and dramatic now as we move into the final 30 seconds, and Quezada still has plenty of fight left here.
I love that from Quezada. He looked like he was spent, didn't it? And he just comes back there with two meaty hooks. Left side of his face is absolutely painted with blood.
I mentioned those scheduled fights he's got later on this month. Well, with that cut, it's going to be difficult for him. Smith looking for the barnstorming finish here. Great right hand there from Smith, get the legs of Quezada. So Quezada reaches the final bell. Learning fight for Smith, full of guts from Quezada, but Codie Smith is a fighter that you'd watch again and again, and we're going to enjoy watching his journey, Barry.
Yeah, I think he's been really controlled to watch, and again, he was controlled in most of this fight, but what he showed again, when he had to, he can dig deep and have a little bit of a swing around with the other guy, and I thought that was, again, it was a step up in opponent, an opponent who, when he was under pressure, fired back with unorthodox shots, hard to read, and Smith looked really good. It was a really good fight to be involved in, a really good result.
Yeah, no, I echo your words, Barry. Great developmental fight for him. Not in any real trouble tonight at all, but got off some really good work. Got caught a few times as well, so you always go back to the drawing board. How can you make those improvements? But you should be very happy with his performance tonight.
And also, I think learning about how you did this very well yourself, and I never did it at all actually, so why am I saying this? But how to stalk an opponent down, because he was stalking it, but sometimes not really being enough of a presence. And like we used to do, those little, I mentioned it in the commentary, those little fidgety movements and making an opponent panic. He needed that tonight.
Yeah, and he did it in large periods really well. I mean, we all were guilty of, following our opponent around the ring and stuff like that, but you've got to do it under the spotlights. The more you do it, it's all experience banked.
Well, he certainly performed well here. Let's make it official now and get to our MC, Paul Booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, our scoring referee, Jamie Kirkpatrick, decides the bout as the 6 rounds of featherweight boxing goes the distance. He has it at 60 points to 54 points. It is a stunning victory for Codie Smith.
Good night's work from Codie Smith. He leaves the ring, I think, a better fighter than he came into it, learning all the time, and we'll watch his journey with so much interest.